Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're looking at something pretty fundamental, actually, to so many technologies.
hmm
Things like microscopes in labs, but also, the machinery inspecting microchips, objective lenses.
That's right. Crucial components.
And we've got a new report that gives a fascinating snapshot of the global market for these things and where it's heading.
Yep, we're diving into the Global Objective Lens Market Report 2025. It's from Cognitive Market Research.
Okay.
And they estimate the global market for 2025 is around USD 300 and 562.5 million. A pretty significant number.
$3.5 billion just for essentially specialized bits of glass
Right.
really puts it in perspective.
It does. And what's really interesting is the growth they're forecasting.
They expect it to keep expanding then.
Absolutely. The report projects it'll reach USD 5.467.32 million by 2033.
Wow.
Which works out as a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR, of 5.50% between 2025 and 2033.
Right, CAGR. So that's like the average yearly growth over that whole period.
Yeah. Exactly. Gives you a sense of the steady pace of expansion they're predicting.
So our goal today is to unpack this for you understand the market size now, where it's going, and what's really driving that growth.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try to stick to the main insights, avoid getting too bogged down in the super technical stuff.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding a specialized but really important part of the global tech economy.
Okay.
We'll look at the key regions, the types of lenses in demand, and the forces pushing this market forward.
All right, let's start with that big number again. The 2025 estimate, USD 562.5 million. What's the sort of time frame this report uses?
Good question. So they use 2024 as the base year for their calculations.
Okay.
They looked at historical data from 2021 up to 2024 to spot the trends.
Right.
2025, this year, is the estimated year, giving us that current snapshot.
Yeah.
And then the forecast runs from 2025 out to 2033. That's the long-term view.
Got it. That gives us a good framework. Now, a global market like this, it's never uniform, is it? How does the report break things down geographically? Any regions leading the chart?
Oh, definitely. North America currently holds the largest slice of the pie, over 40% of the global revenue, actually.
40%? Okay.
Their market size is estimated at USD 1,318.13 million for 2025.
Yeah.
And they're forecasting a CAGR of 4.0% through 2033.
So North America is the big player right now. Which countries they're really pushing that number?
Well, the United States is the biggest single market within the region, estimated at USD to 140 million in 2025, growing at about 3.8% CAGR.
And what's driving that in the U.S.?
The report points to growth in education and medical research as key factors there.
Sure.
Canada is also significant, but USD 158 million with a slightly higher growth rate, 4.8% CAGR. That seems to be driven by increasing use in life sciences.
Interesting.
And Mexico comes in around USD 120 million with a 4.5% projected CAGR.
It's interesting how different sectors, drive demand for something so specific. What about Europe? You mentioned they have a substantial share too.
They do. Europe's over 30% of the global revenue, market size of USD 133.13 million in 2025, and projected growth of 4.6% CAGR.
Similar growth to North America then.
Pretty similar overall, yeah. But there's variation within Europe. The UK, for instance, is expected to grow a bit faster, 5.4% CAGR, hitting about USD 173 million.
And why the faster growth there?
The report suggests advancements in microscopy and imaging tech are key factors in the UK.
Okay.
Germany has a really large market size, around USD 204 million, growing at 4.8%. That seems tied to their strong R&D investment and scientific research base.
Right, so those research hubs are a recurring theme. Now let's pivot to Asia Pacific, often seen as a high-growth area. What's the story there for objective lenses?
Yeah, APAC. Currently about 23% of the global revenue, so around USD 855 million for 2025.
Okay.
But, and this is the really interesting part, this region is projected to have the fastest growth, a CAGR of 8.2% from 2025 to 2033.
Fastest growth. Okay. That is significant. Where in APAC is that growth concentrated?
Well, China's a major player. Market size of about USD 360 million, growing at 7.7% CAGR. That's linked heavily to expansion in their education sector.
Right.
But Japan really stands out. The projected CAGR is, well, remarkably high, 86.7%.
86.7, is that right? That seems massive.
It is huge, projected to reach about USD 118 million. The report doesn't detail exactly why, but you have to assume major initiatives or tech shifts.
Yeah, maybe something specific around advanced manufacturing or electronics. Definitely one to watch. What about other parts of APAC?
India is also showing strong growth, 10.1% CAGR, market size around USD 85 million. Yeah. And Southeast Asia as a whole is projected around 9.0% CAGR.
So the takeaway is North America leads now, but APAC, especially Japan and India, looks set for explosive growth, a potential shift in the market's center of gravity.
That seems to be the story, yes.
Yeah.
Very dynamic picture over the next decade.
Okay, what about the other regions? South America, Middle East?
South America accounts for just over 5%. That's about USD 135 million in 2025, growing at 6.2% CAGR.
And within South America?
Brazil leads there, around USD 58 million, 6.8% growth, linked to education and research investment. Argentina is showing solid growth too, 7.1% CAGR, about USD 23 million, driven by biotech and pharma expansion.
Got it. And the Middle East?
Smaller share, around 2%, market size of USD 142.5 million in 2025, but decent growth at 6.8% CAGR. Any
standouts there?
Saudi Arabia is significant, about USD 50 million, with 7.1% CAGR. Qatar and Turkey are also growing, around 6.3% and 7.4% respectively. Right. Again, themes of education, research, and adopting advanced imaging tech.
Okay, and finally, Africa.
Africa is about 1% of the global revenue, roughly USD 78 million in 2025, growing 5.8% CAGR.
Right.
South Africa has the largest market share there, about USD 27 million, 6.7% growth. Nigeria is also growing, 6.0% CAGR, helped by government R&D investments.
So a really diverse global picture, North America leading, but APAC growing fastest. Now, the report digs deeper, right, into types of lenses, applications.
Yes, absolutely. It segments the market by type, immersion medium, magnification, application, and also end user.
Let's start with type. What's dominant there?
Currently, the achromat lens category holds the largest share.
Achromat. Okay, remind us what they are and why they're so common.
Sure. Achromats offer a good balance, really. Good performance for the cost, especially in correcting chromatic aberration.
That's the color fringing you sometimes see.
Exactly, those sort of rainbow edges. Achromats correct for 2 wavelengths of light, reducing that distortion. Makes them very versatile for standard microscopy, optical instruments, places where you need good quality, but maybe not the absolute ultimate performance.
Makes sense. Good performance, good price equals big market share. What about the fastest growing type?
That would be fluorite lenses. Their growth is driven by, well, just superior optical properties.
Better image quality.
Much better correction of that chromatic aberration. Plus, higher light transmission, so you get sharper, more color-accurate images. If achromats reduce the obvious color fringes, fluorite lenses are like fine-tuning for really crisp color.
Okay.
So as demand for high-end imaging grows, in advanced microscopy, specialized cameras, fluorite lens adoption is really taking off.
So achromat's the workhorse, fluorites for when image quality is top priority. Now, you mentioned immersion. What's that about?
Immersion refers to the substance between the objective lens tip and the sample you're looking at.
Ah, okay.
The report looks at air, oil, water, and glycerin. Right now, air immersion has the largest share.
Why air?
Well, for many lower magnification uses, air works fine. It allows enough light through without too much distortion, and air objectives are generally simpler and cheaper.
Makes sense. And the others? Oil, water, glycerin.
Glycerin immersion is shown as a rapidly growing segment, especially for specialized high magnification work like advanced microscopy.
Why glycerin specifically?
Glycerin has a refractive index. That's how much light bends when passing through it. That's closer to both the lens glass and many biological samples.
Right.
So using it minimizes light scattering and helps the lens collect more light, especially at really high magnifications. This means better resolution, clearer images of very fine details. Oil and water are used similarly for other specific advanced techniques.
Fascinating how even that tiny gap matters so much. Okay, what about magnification levels? Key trends there.
The report shows the 16x to 40x magnification range holds the largest market share currently.
Why that range?
It's a versatile sweet spot. Offers a good balance between magnifying power and how much area you can actually see the field of view. So it's suitable for lots of different things, routine lab work, education, etc.
That balance makes sense for widespread use. Where's the growth happening in magnification?
The 50x to 100x magnification segment is the fastest growing.
Higher power then.
Exactly. And that's really being fueled by increasing demand in advanced microscopy. Think life sciences, biological research, medical diagnostics.
Yeah.
To see cellular, even subcellular details, you need these higher magnifications.
Right.
Advancements in biotech and medical research are big drivers here.
So as we need to see smaller things, demand for stronger lenses grows. Makes sense.
Hmm.
What about the applications? Where are these lenses used most, and where is use growing fastest?
Microscopy holds the largest share by application.
Yeah.
No big surprise there.
Yeah, seems fundamental.
Objective lenses are just core to microscopes, right?
Yeah.
And microscopes are crucial everywhere, science, healthcare, industry. So the constant need for imaging in biology, diagnostics, material science keeps this segment dominant.
Definitely foundational. What sector's driving the fastest growth in lens use?
That would be semiconductor inspection systems.
Ah, back to the microchips.
Exactly. It's tied directly to how complex chip manufacturing is getting. As chips get smaller, denser, you need incredibly high-resolution imaging to inspect them, find tiny flaws.
Quality control is paramount there.
Absolutely. So that relentless push for smaller, faster electronics is a major factor driving demand for very specialized, high-performance objective lenses.
That makes perfect sense. The precision needed is mind-boggling. Now, if we look at the end users, who's actually buying these lenses?
The healthcare and life sciences sector holds the largest share by end user.
Okay, hospitals, labs.
Right. Driven by the constant need for precise imaging in medical diagnostics, research, biotech development. They're essential in everything from looking at tissue samples to guiding complex surgeries.
And mirroring the application trends, which end user segment is growing fastest.
The semiconductor and electronics category.
No surprise there either.
Again, it aligns perfectly with that rapid growth in semiconductor inspection systems that we just talked about. The need for high-precision optics in manufacturing and quality control for semiconductors, other electronics. That's the key driver.
Right.
And the expansion of the electronics industry, especially in Asia, feeds significantly into this growth.
So a clear link. Growth in semiconductor inspection application drives growth in the semiconductor electronics end user segment.
Okay, the report also touches on market dynamics, drivers, challenges, trends.
It does. Key drivers identified are pretty logical. Ongoing advancements in microscopy itself, plus scientific research constantly pushing boundaries, needing better lenses, the growth of biotech and life sciences demanding advanced imaging, and as we've seen, rising demand from electronics and material science.
All sound like strong growth factors.
Yeah.
Any headwinds, things holding the market back.
The report points to two main restraints. First, the high cost of making top-quality objective lenses. They need specialized materials, complex processes.
Right, not cheap to make.
And second, limited availability of certain specific raw materials needed for production. These could impact supply chains and pricing down the line.
Important considerations.
Yeah.
And finally, key trends shaping how these lenses evolve.
We're seeing big strides in things like multi-layer coatings and anti-reflective tech. These improve performance, durability across the board. Better coatings, better lenses.
Pretty much. And also, that growing demand for ever higher resolution, especially in medicine and science, is driving constant innovation in the lens designs themselves. More specialized lenses for very specific tasks.
So a market constantly innovating to meet tougher demands. What about the companies involved, the competitive landscape?
It's described as highly competitive. Key players focus on tech improvement, innovation, expanding globally.
Standard competitive stuff.
Yeah, and there's increasing demand for custom designs, miniaturized lenses, multi-lens systems for specific applications, which just intensifies the competition. Strategic moves like alliances, acquisitions are pretty common too.
Did the report give any examples?
It did mention a couple. For instance, Olympus launching new high-performance lenses for fluorescence microscopy back in late 2020, aimed at imaging living cells.
Okay.
And Thor Labs, another big photonics player, acquired a company called Coda Devices in early 20 to boost their optical analysis capabilities. So yeah, things are definitely happening.
Those examples really illustrate that active, evolving market. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive on objective lenses, what are the main takeaways for you?
Well, it's clearly a substantial global market, about USD 3.5 billion in 2025, projected to grow steadily to nearly USD 5.5 billion by 2033, with that 5.5% CAGR.
Right.
North America leads now, but keep a close eye on Asia Pacific for the fastest growth.
Especially Japan and India.
Exactly. Key drivers are progress in research, biotech, life sciences, and particularly the demands of the semiconductor and electronics industries.
And in terms of products?
We see solid performance from established types like ACR mats and applications like general microscopy. But the really rapid growth is in areas like fluorite lenses, glycerin immersion, higher magnifications, and crucially, semiconductor inspection.
So a robust market, expanding thanks to innovation in vital tech and science fields, really shows how these small optical parts are central to big progress.
Absolutely. Which leads to a really interesting thought for you, the listener, to consider. Given that rapid APAC growth and the critical role these lenses play in semiconductors, a field demanding ever more precision, what future breakthroughs in objective lens tech might we see? What happens when they need to be even more precise?
Hmm.
And maybe even what totally new applications might pop up as lens tech keeps advancing, letting us see things we just can't visualize today.
Definitely food for thought. Where could this tech go next?
Exactly. It's a field with huge potential for future discovery.
Well, if this deep dive sparked your interest, maybe think about how objective lenses connect to your own work or interests. Perhaps dig into some of those specific applications or the regional trends we discussed. Thanks for joining us for this look into the world of objective lenses.